All right, new as if y'all are new here, usually Tuesdays is Drew. We're switching Drew over to Mondays. And it's going to be everything from lead generation, LinkedIn, everything under the sun regarding that. So give Drew your full undivided attention. I gave you sharing rights on your screen and everything, Drew. So you should be good to go, bro.
Cool. Appreciate it. Thanks again.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Let's see if I can get my camera flipped on here. Cool. All right. Hope everyone's good tonight or this morning, wherever you are. We're going to dive into some LinkedIn stuff again. If you haven't been here before, first time I did a LinkedIn lead generation course or class, we talked about my automation tool, which we use is called Ulink. If you guys want access to Ulink, I'm going to drop a couple links here. So let me go ahead and do that now. So we have those up while we're going through everything. So if you want exclusive access to the tool, just fill out this form for me. I don't charge extra for it. I do it as a done for you service as well. If you don't feel like messing around with it yourself, but if you do want exclusive access, go ahead and click that form link. Also, we're going to be talking about Sales Navigator, and Sales Navigator is a tool that LinkedIn has developed to give you access to do hyper-targeted searches on their platform, so you could reach whoever you want to target on their network. I have an extended free trial with that as well. So if you guys haven't used Sales Navigator before, go ahead and fill out this second form right here. I'm just going to put Sales Nav with it. And I can get you an extended free trial on Sales Navigator. Alrighty, and then the last thing you might see me operating is a tool called Dominate B2B, which I use to scrape LinkedIn. Helps me grab data from LinkedIn, emails, phone numbers, etc., and build some of the lists that we'll be going over today. So let me go ahead and start my screen. Alrighty. Cool. Can everybody see my screen? Perfect. Thanks, Patrick. All right. So first thing I want to focus on is how to build quality lists so that we can use automation tools so we can target the right folks on LinkedIn. What we want to do is, needs permission. Yeah, hang on one second. Let me fix that too. Just hang on one second. It is not going to cooperate with me right now, so I will send that again at the end of the course. All right, cool. Appreciate that. Thank you. Alrighty. So first thing we want to do is we want to make sure we sign up to Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator, again, gives you access to a network that you can't really see, LinkedIn's entire network, based on who you already are connected with. It's going to allow you to build out your network further. The more people you connect with, the more people you reach. So the goal is when you're first starting out is you want to start to build and build and build and build the network. Try to surround yourself with the audience that you want to target. And it's just going to allow you to start connecting with their connections and their connections, and so on and so forth. And that kind of starts a big trickle effect. So to tap into that, we want to go over here to what's called Sales Navigator. And you want to be able to do lead filters. And this is what's going to create the magic for you. You want to be able to filter out and build these hyper-targeted quality lists so that you can target decision makers in your niche and go after the exact people that you want to target. There's a couple different ways to do this. One of the easiest ways to do is just come up here, type in a keyword. Let's say we're looking for carpet cleaning. You just type in carpet cleaning in the keywords and it's going to spit out a list right here. And it's going to access a ton of different people, 89,000 results, carpet cleaners on LinkedIn based on my search. So you might scroll through this list. It might be accurate. It might be pulling in some fluff. That happens often. But the main important thing is we kind of want to dwindle down that list to get it to as small as possible. Usually the sweet spot's going to be about 2,000 to 3,000 contacts. That's where you want to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to start using these filters. So who are the decision makers, right? You want to target the owners of the company, mainly president, CEO, all the big titles that you can think of, depending on how big the company is. I usually stick to owner or co-owner, etc. For carpet cleaners, they're usually smaller businesses. You'll run into a few bigger companies, but what we want to do is go over to seniority level and select owner. And that's going to lower that list. Then it's down 26K. And you can see here, we have all owners now. Owner, carpet cleaning, carpet cleaning, carpet cleaning, carpet cleaning, right? So we're getting close to our target. Now what we want to do is go over here to geography, and you start lowering or specifying where you want to target exactly. Let's say United States. So that should bring the list down even further. We kind of gauge from there. Looks like 20K. So it didn't shave off too much. So now we know that we got to start picking out states, right? Rather than just the entire United States. We want to get that list down to 2 to 3K. So let's say we want to do local to me. I'll look up Maryland. We're looking up Maryland. It's going to pull in a list about 443. And then we can kind of go to the surrounding areas right around Maryland, Virginia, etc. So once you get to close to your target, just start adding in other states that are going to build that up to about 2 to 3K, etc. So pick a couple other ones that are nearby: Delaware, Pennsylvania. Right. Depending on your niche, you might need to add in some of these other seniority levels. So if I add, let's see, CXO or VP, it's going to give me closer to that 2K mark, right? So now I'm at 2.5K, right? So that's really a sweet spot where you want to be for building these lists for automation purposes. So once we have our list here, kind of do a scroll through just to make sure everything is what you want, right? You want the decision maker, you want it to say carpet cleaning if that's your target. You want to make sure that the areas you picked are correct: Pennsylvania, Maryland, etc. Right? So as long as all those things are hidden, then you are definitely building the correct list. Looks like most of these are carpet cleaning services, so I'm right on target with that. So I feel like this is a pretty good list. Even just looking through the first page, I can already tell, and I'm pretty confident that this is a good, solid list here. So this is one way to build a list of a industry and target the owners, etc. What we could do as well, instead of doing keywords, the other thing you could do too, so if we take these keywords out, we hit enter, it's going to refresh again. We could come over here to job title instead, and we can type in those same keywords in job title. So it's going to give you a different look. So sometimes you might need to go back and forth. If your industry is pulling in extra fluff, sometimes you'll get a lot of marketing companies. You'll get a lot of companies that are related to the same keywords, but it's not who you're looking for. You want to make sure that you can really specifically dial that down to make sure you're targeting your target audience, because it's all going to be important when it comes to building your copy. You want to be able to send the right message to the right people, right? So we can use these other filters like job title. So if I put cleaning or carpet cleaning, over here, we'll get a different look. So it's going to pull in carpet cleaning companies. It's going to pull in mainly from the job title itself, which is also going to pull in the correct folks to target as well. So as long as you still have these seniority levels, we know that these are still owners, CXO, managers, VP, decision makers, right? So that's a very crucial thing to make sure too, is that you're targeting those decision makers, because they're the ones you want to get in front of. They're the ones that you want to, excuse me, they're the ones that you want to target when you're sending out those messages. Okay, so we can do a couple other searches too. The really awesome thing that you can do as well with Sales Navigator is you can build custom lists. Okay, and you can send really anyone a message from that custom list, as long as you do it in a way that's a little bit more time consuming, but it's really how I build really hyper targeted stuff. So if I'm picking a niche that is a little bit more involved, let's say if I'm looking for something like crime scene cleanup, something off the wall, right? If I'm typing in crime scene cleanup, I'm going to get a bunch of fluff in here. I mean, I might not find exactly what I'm looking for. I know what I want to look for, but I might not get exactly. So if I do crime scene cleanup, I'm going to get some restoration, Serve Pro. You know, it might be too specific, but you could go through here and you can manually pick out who you want to target. So all you got to do is go over here, see where it says save. Just hit the save button. And you can actually pick a list or create your own list over here. So we can go down the list and save individual ones that we want to target in that list. And you just build it up. I know it's a tedious task and it does take some time, but it's going to really make a difference when you send out those connection requests, when you send out the message sequence with our automation tools. You're going to get much more of a response that you want, right? So you can do this yourself. You can hire a VA to do it, or you can even use tools that'll help speed up that process too. So one way to do that is with the Dominate B2B tool. Let's say we want to, again, let's say I'm big on JV partners. You might hear me talking about JV partnerships sometimes. So I target marketing agencies myself. So I might be going after, let's say, branding companies or branding agency, right? Or maybe I'll type branding owner. And I'll go here, and let's say I want to find branding specialists. I'll open up all people. And I will go click on someone that is brander, owner, and president at Birch Grove Branding. Looks like a branding company. So I'll click on his profile. And with the tool, we'll get all of his information pop up right here. All you got to do is hit unlock profile. We got his email, we got his phone number, we got his website, got all the information we need. Take that a step further. In my Dominate B2B tool, I already have a carpet cleaning list or a branding agency list. You can set up whatever list you want to set up, but you can build your custom list this way as well. So you just go over here, you hit add in LinkedIn list, and you just click the button. It puts it right into the list. We can do the same thing. We can go through manually. You can have a VA do it, or again, we can make it a little bit more automated. And the way we make it a little bit more automated is we let this run in the background, right? So if we have let's say we're doing carpet cleaning again, and I want to target carpet cleaning. So we add another state in there. I can go over here, hit email extractor. It's going to do the same exact thing, except at a more automated pace, right? So you can pick which direction you want to go. If you want to be more broad, filter the list the best you can using these filters, kind of sort through it, and then automate the search, extract the information, let the tool run by itself in the background. You can just throw that onto a different screen, and it's going to start pulling in some data, right? Now this is going to go through this automatically. Go grab a cup of coffee, throw it over to a different screen, and you will have yourself a nice list that's automated for you. Now, how do we take that information? What do we do with it, right? What do we do with these lists? Well, we have our U-Link tool. There's a ton of automation tools out there. This one is the one that I've found and tested that I found works the best. I've had the best results with it, and I continue to use it. I've been using it for over 2 years now. So what we want to do with these searches is we want to take this information and we want to, let's do a different search. Let's go back to our carpet cleaning search. We want to grab this URL up here and go over to our U-Link account. We're going to hit this tab called search. And we're going to go ahead and start a new search. Now you have multiple ways to upload lists. Okay. When we're doing more of a broad filtered search, we're going to use the Sales Navigator search. Paste in the URL, title it whatever you want. And we're going to hit add to search. And that's going to start pulling in the entire list over here on the right hand side. Okay. Now coming back to our B2B here, let's say we already have the list pulling in. Let's say, for example, we have rehabilitation centers that we already scraped. Okay. What we want to do is download this. We can download this as an Excel sheet, CSV file. And this is our hyper-targeted search. Okay. Now, when we have this hyper-targeted search, we're going to get all this information that pulls in. We want to look for the URL of their LinkedIn profile, which is going to be right here, where it says URL. And all we got to do is just copy all these, and it'll take up to 2,500 of them at a time. Okay. I'm not the best with Excel. I'm sure there's shortcuts. Don't judge me here, but this is why I hire VAs to do this type of service. But I'll just grab the URL. I'll come over here to my U-Link. As we can see here, it's starting to pull in some of that list already. But we can do a new search. What you want to do is come over here to URL import. And this is where you can insert the list of LinkedIn profile URLs, and it's going to match them up right away. You just paste them all in there. You go ahead and add that search task after you add your name. And that's going to start pulling in once this is done. So it has a queue. So things go in queues here. So once this search is completed, it's going to start pulling in the rehab list right away, just to give you an idea of effect. I'll go ahead and delete this one because I already have one from before. but it pulls in the URLs pretty quickly. So let me go ahead and grab it. That one seems to be acting up a little bit. I'll come back and show you guys that way to do it in a little bit. Let me go back over here. Yeah, so again, the main way to do the search is the broad way. Then we can filter out our lists by saving the list over here. So we come over to our lead lists. You have your list right here. So you can actually pull in this URL as well to get your specific list too. Okay. Now, when we have our lists, we can bring them over into our automation tool and launch campaigns with them. So rather than you sitting there manually messaging everybody, going down your list, you can have this tool do it for you. And it also gets around all the limitations that LinkedIn has. So limitations that LinkedIn has is it only lets you send out 100 requests per week of new connections. So I'm not sure if you guys have tried it yet, but if you sat there and gone manually and you message, connect all the way through, it's going to give you a big giant stop sign. And you're going to burn right through that list very quickly. The awesome thing about this tool is we average not only past that 100 mark, but we hit pretty high numbers in a week. I mean, we're sending out 631 on this account in that campaign. And that's just been over the past week. I've seen that number and I've taken some snapshots. That number can get as high as 900 to 1,000, depending on how optimized you are. So it's a powerful tool. And when done correctly, you're going to be booking leads. You're going to be booking appointments. You're going to be boosting up your calendar. And it all starts with building out these lists very specifically and with your target audience. Any questions so far? I know I've been rambling a lot, but anybody have any questions about Sales Navigator, how to filter searches? Okay. Now, the way that we set up our campaigns is we're going to come into this tool and we're going to go to connector. And we're going to click new connector campaign. Let's call this one carpet cleaning. And we hit create connector campaign. Okay. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our steps. Our steps is going to be the copy that is going to be going out in the sequences. Now, typically your introduction, you want to either do something very generic or something that kind of stands out and creates conversation. Okay. I usually do, and I say it a million times, what's called the burger pitch. Usually actually is my highest connecting introduction to date. But what I do is I just say something like first name, Hope you're open to chatting about business, even how to make the best burger you've ever had. Right. And that's usually a conversation starter. I get a lot of people that reply is like, oh man, my favorite burger is this. I want your favorite recipe, etc. Right. And I'll even have a document that I'll send out with burger recipe just to continue that conversation. So it's really about starting a conversation and getting them to engage so you can turn that conversation into your pitch, right? Sometimes and more often than not, they're actually just not going to answer this introduction question, and you're going to have to send out welcome message or step number 2, which is going to be your sequence. Okay. So this is your main pitch in the sequence, and you can say something like, hey, first name, thanks for connecting. I'm Drew, and I help carpet cleaning companies get more leads on Google. If I show you how, you jump on a call with me, right? Something simple like that. Get your pitch across. If I show you how, will you jump on a call with me, or would you jump on a call with me? Don't be afraid to be direct, okay? Sometimes it's a numbers game, especially when we have so many connection requests going out, so many messages going out at a time. We want to hit those numbers. We want to get engagement, but we also want to hit those numbers. So don't be afraid to be direct on that second pitch, on that second step. So we pitch them, we gauge their response from there. You'll get a lot of no's, but you'll get some yeses. And more importantly, those yeses are going to turn into booked appointments with the decision maker that you're targeting in your specific niche. So that's why it's very important, going back to building the right lists, filtering out those searches properly so that you can make that happen. So the next thing we want to do is make sure we set this time limit to send about 15 minutes after connecting, so it doesn't sound or feel so robotic. And then we add another step, which we usually send out about 3 days later. And this is more of a follow-up. This follow-up message, say something like, hey there, it might have been busy, or might have been busy time. Might have been a busy time for you when I sent the last message. Then you can throw out some more value or do another offer. You know, a lot of times if I'm doing a campaign to get SEO clients, I will drop the free audit here. You know, maybe I'll call it something different, like an evaluation, right? So maybe I'll ask them a question: when is the last time you evaluated your website? Right? When's the last time you evaluated your website? And they'll say this or that. And then continue the engagement, get them to a point where you could look at their website, you can run the audit, and then go in to book the appointment to go over the audit, right? So there's a lot of different ways that you can approach it, but don't be afraid, again, to be direct with them, because you are going to run into that numbers game, right? Enough going out, we're going to get enough yeses. It's going to turn into those booked appointments. So what we want to do at this point is make sure we hit save over here on the right hand side. So we have our steps right here. And over here on this side, it's called InMail and Group, right? So InMail is LinkedIn's version of email. The hybrid algorithm of this automation tool allows for so many connection requests to go out each week. It's how we hit those high amount of requests coming out. And what it does is it automatically switches over to this hybrid model where it starts sending out InMail messages as well. So that's why this sort of looks like an email. So we got to set this up too to make sure we're hitting those numbers. So we just come over here, we say, hey, let's connect. And then we just start copy and pasting the messages that we have over here. The only tedious thing, make sure you hit the save button after every time you create a step. But just go ahead and copy and paste everything over. Now on the InMail side, the first one, I do want to send this out after 1 day. That's the first. So message 1, send after 1 day. And then the second step, message 2, we can send that after 3 days for the follow-up. All right, hit save, go back. All right, so this is set. This campaign is ready to go. And now what we need to do is we have to go ahead and upload our lists. So to upload our list, we're going to go back to our search that we just did. We go over to carpet. And we are going to click add all new people to connector campaign. And we want to choose the campaign. So we're going to click carpet cleaning. We're going to add to connector campaign. And that is going to start pulling everything over. And it's going to automatically launch the carpet cleaning campaign. So if we go back over to carpet, you can see everything in queue now. It's all going to be loaded up. Go over here to our connector just to make sure that everything is running, and you can see everything is in queue now. So if you have multiple campaigns running at a time, it's going to kind of queue everything up here. It's going to do it in a rotation. So it'll just spit different ones out on different campaigns. But you will start seeing the statistics. Let it run for a day or so, and you can come back in here and you can click on stats, and you'll start seeing that connection requests have been going out, how many people have been connecting, how many people are replying, etc. Okay. For example, if we're looking at one that we just started running here, so we got, about almost 2,000 going out. 47 have connected, 15 replies, about 21 replies, etc. This is a lower number. I'm doing a different kind of thing here, different strategy for my own self. I'm not targeting like for SEO or websites particular. I'm doing more of a partnership strategy at the moment. So I'm going to get lower numbers with what I'm doing. but we can compare this to like wine and spirits, for example, something, start to see the numbers a little bit increased here. But you really have to mess around with the copy, the lists, etc. And the numbers that you want to really focus on are going to be more so in your connection rate. You want to have that about 10%, 10 to 20% or higher. And your reply rate, you want to have 7 to 10% with the reply rate. When you have those numbers hitting full force, you are completely optimized and locked in. And you know that you are hitting stride with that. So there's going to be one or two things if you're not hitting those numbers, either your copy or it's going to be the list that you built in the beginning. So it's very important, again, like I said, build those specific lists, use the tools that you have available to you, including LinkedIn Sales Navigator, to filter out these searches, and then upload them into your campaign. Going back to the dominate here, use the data too that you collect for other things, right? So not only are you going to be able to hit these guys on LinkedIn, but we can also take the same data, pull out the emails, use it for your cold email too. Hit them in multiple directions, take the phone numbers, put them into an IVR system, use everything you have to get multiple touches, because it's just going to improve it so much better. You can even set up webhooks directly from Ulink, that when you connect with someone, it can automatically trigger an email to be sent out to them too, right? You'll have to hook it with Zapier into your email system, but it can definitely be done, and it boosts up your response rate even further. Okay. Please, if you have any questions, ask away. If you guys want access to the tool, please fill out the form above. I will get that Sales Navigator form fixed, and I'll give it to William to drop in the back end as well. But please, if you have any questions about building lists, about Ulink in general, go ahead and drop your questions. Nobody? Not one question? So you guys are masters at this now?
Patrick would see how you close your sales calls and how you do your sales calls, and Jeff would like to see how much is your done for you service.
What?
Okay. I think there might be something wrong with my chat screen. I might not be seeing anything. Hang on one second. So
if you can hear me, yeah, you got Patrick's asking, want to see your sales service. Want to see how you close a sale. Jeff wants to know how much is your done for you service, and that's about it.
Absolutely. So the done for you service is $500 a month. That will be raising next month to $750 a month, but we handle everything for you. What we do is we create the lists, we create the copy, we book the appointments right onto your calendar, and we maintain the campaigns, right? So we go as much as we can go and get as many appointments as we can within that month's time frame. Usually end up with about 5 to 10, sometimes 15 appointments a week when we're fully optimized. Closing a sale, so that's a multi-step. So in your campaign, you have this inbox right here. You're going to get messages, and the messages for example, the other day, so this was a message that went out back in March, saying we're running a few specials on website and SEO. Please send a calendar invite is what he sent there. We went ahead and sent over the calendar invite. He booked it, right? So you can do it a couple different ways. It's not going to be as easy as this every single time. You're going to get messages where they say, like this one, we're good at the moment, but they're always willing to explore new contract partnerships, etc. Right? Let's check out these. And here's one to the burger pitch, right? He doesn't eat burgers much these days. And when I do, I'll admit it's the fast kind to revisit childhood, like Big Macs, and see, haha, nice message. So they love that pitch in the beginning. But the whole idea of using the U-Link strategy is to book the appointment. So it's on the prospecting side. Now, when you take this off onto your sales call, we hit it off and we say, I always drop that, hey, we're targeting you on LinkedIn, and that the service works because you're talking to me right now. And the cool thing about it is if you open that as your opener in the conversation, it's going to kind of give you credibility in a sense. You're a marketer, you know what you're doing, right? But not only that, but you can resell this service too. You can resell the LinkedIn side of things as a service. So put it in your repertoire, make it available to yourself to be able to sell. You can even outsource it to me if you want to. But that's how I kind of start that sales call. Now, my partner, Matthew, he does most of our sales at this point. We can bring him in and we can break down our sales pitch as well. So William, if you think that would be a good idea too, we can even go through the motions there on what we do from taking a prospect to the appointment and go through the entire sales pitch that we do. Dan saying, what are you offering the people you're connecting with on LinkedIn? I got a link. So I have a bunch of different offers. My business personally, we go after joint venture partnerships. So my offer, which I can actually pull up the connector right here. So we target, for example, media agencies. So I'll say we fulfill SEO and website design jobs for other agencies. Would you be interested in connecting with us to explore a JV partnership? If so, let's schedule a call to discuss what day and time works best for you. And then I'll send like a follow-up here. We're always looking for fantastic business partners to leverage each other's work. When can we chat about this some more? Right? So there's different offers that you can do depending on who you're targeting. And that all has to do with what we were talking about at the beginning, is creating specific lists, knowing your audience, knowing who you want to target decision maker wise, and just putting the right copy in front of them. We've done this for so many different types of services, not just SEO, not just website design. We've done it for building lists. We've done it for e-commerce. We've done it for services such as like Beneteau, for example, who wanted to get people on their VIP list. So you can really use it for so many different things. I've even used it for recruiting. If you know right now, the biggest problem that a lot of these companies are having is recruitment. They can't get employees. So how can they give us work if they can't even get the work themselves because they have nobody to do the work? That I've ran into that objection recently. And I've done it for recruiting. You can use this in tandem with other strategies such as like Facebook, etc. But just get creative with it depending on what you're offering in terms of services. But the sky's the limit on what you can do with this type of outreach. What has better conversion for responses, messages, or emails when you fool them? So that's a great question. the messages are really going to get a better response, but the ones that ignore the messages, you hit them with an email, it's going to increase that percentage overall of responses. So you want to have different touches with it. So I don't only just go through this list once, I also do retargeting. And what I mean by retargeting is I will build out and send this list and send it for like 3 months. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to this tab called Messenger, and I'm going to send out a blast of thousands of contacts. You know, the last one I did, 11,539 contacts. I couldn't even get through the entire list because it just kept going and going and going. Well, my inbox was blowing up. I mean, I had over 1,600 replies. Out of those 1,600 replies, I filled up my calendar for the last 2 months. So, you know, the whole idea is just get them connected, and then they're in your network, and you can hit them as many times you want from different angles, email, messages, phone calls. And the cool thing about it is if you're connected on LinkedIn, it gives you credibility to the point where when you're starting that conversation, you can say, oh yeah, we're connected on LinkedIn. You know, that's how you open the icebreaker in a sense. I use it on sales calls. I do it on cold calling, in the email when I'm sending that, and say, hey, I noticed we're connected on LinkedIn, or thanks for connecting with me on LinkedIn. However you want to state that, but it just gives you a leg up for sure. Any other questions? And my chat's being really weird, so if you have a question, send it direct to me. And Gabriel, so you're saying, so basically it's a numbers game. The more you touch, the greater your percentages. Granted, you have a good message. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a numbers game too, but just imagine the messages you're sending out is a really, really hot email list that you're targeting, right? So it's not just completely cold, which it is kind of, but having that such a hyper targeted list, it allows you to get past the gatekeeper for one, because you're targeting the owner, but also you're targeting the right owner in the right niche. And if they connect with you, they showed some kind of engagement already, you know, so that plus a numbers game, plus multiple touches in other spots, you're going to have booked appointments. Like I haven't ran one campaign where I haven't booked anything. So it's going to book your appointments. You just have to do it. Any other questions? And Patrick is agreeing, breaking down the sales pitch would be awesome. Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. Kind of doing like an example of how a call would go. We could even, like Patrick saying, put together a course showing all the methods, prospecting to closing. That's an idea too. I know William, I know your upcoming war room is going to have a lot of that in there too. You know, that's always something we can discuss adding on. You can always bring me in to do some teaching of that prospecting to sales as well. Any other questions that you guys can think of? List building, U-Link, lead generation, dominate B2B. Go ahead and drop them. And while you're doing that, again, if you guys want access to this tool, go ahead and fill out this form right here. Oops, sorry, that went to Patrick. Telling you my chat is messing up. There we go. Go ahead and fill out that form if you want access to the tool. All right, and Patrick saying please talk about any problems that I've had with LinkedIn and the tools that I use. That's another great question. So, to be honest, with Ulink, I really haven't had any issues. There was only one situation where, out of over the past 2 years, I only had one situation. And if this comes up, don't get alarmed. And that's when LinkedIn was doing the big crackdown. And that's when they put that limit in place where you can only send out 100 connection requests. Sometimes you could get what's called like a warning, or they threaten to suspend you, etc., just like Facebook would. It happens very rarely. I'm telling you, I only had it happen once. But all you have to do is follow the instructions. They ask you to just verify your identity. So just answer the questions and then you'll get reinstated. But the key is having Sales Navigator. If you have Sales Navigator and you are paying LinkedIn for Sales Navigator, they are going to leave you alone. Okay. You're going to be less likely to be affected if you have Sales Navigator, and it's going to not only help you drive these searches, but it's also going to give that extra layer of protection as well, if you're concerned about that. Something that we touched on in part one when we did the Ulink a while ago is the importance of having a great profile behind your LinkedIn, so you show even more credibility to even have that conversation in the first place. And the importance of having a sturdy profile, I mean, it's crucial, right? It's just like on Facebook, you want to make sure that you are showing off your knowledge, right? So you want to make sure everything is set up properly. Now, if I'm going after JV partners, I have my profile geared towards JV partners, right? So I help marketing agencies fulfill website development, SEO projects, add me as an extension of your team, right? So I have my profile filled out, geared right towards my audience. And it is important to have it nice and filled up with featured images, experience, certifications, skills, reviews, recommendations. You just want to have a nice full profile as well and lead everybody to your booking link. Okay, so optimizing the profiles is crucial there too. Ivan saying, what was the connection, messages, replays, calls, book percentages that we should expect from solid campaign? Yep, so numbers to track when you're looking at your stats on a campaign. So your connection percentage, you want to have somewhere between 10 and 20%. So 10 to 20% is the connection percentage. Out of the replies, you want to have that number between 7 and 10%. Okay, so that will make sure that you're hitting enough numbers to be successful. So definitely jot that down. If you are not hitting those numbers, it's either one or two things. It's either your copy that's not right, so make some adjustments there, or it's your list. You didn't do enough or good enough job targeting the right list. Okay, or it could be both, right? So you have to make those adjustments. Now, one of the lighter services that I offer too is actually optimizing your profile. It's a service we could offer for $99 to set up a profile, and this mix just fills it out top to bottom. But we also give you skills endorsements and reviews as well. So if that's something of interest to anybody, definitely let me know as well. Patrick, do you mention your Facebook on LinkedIn and vice versa? Not necessarily, but if you have a Facebook group or something like that you want to drive people to, a lot of the stuff I do on Facebook is LinkedIn oriented. So I kind of don't want to be advertising my Facebook per se on LinkedIn, because I don't want LinkedIn to look at it. But you know, if you're doing SEO or if you're doing web design or marketing or whatever you're doing, there's nothing wrong with putting your website link as your Facebook, and you can do that right here. It's all part of the profile optimization. The profile optimization, you add in all of your links, all of your phone numbers, etc. You know, so you could definitely do that with Facebook. Let's see here. Perfect. All right. Any other questions? Jeff's asking, can you send a general message every day, like an ad? Can you be a little bit more specific, Jeff? I'm not sure if I understand that correctly. Best way to contact me directly is to schedule a call. If anybody would like to chat about LinkedIn, about any of these tools, feel free to book a call on my calendar right there. So the tools that I'm using here, just to give you guys an idea, we're using Ulink. Ulink is a LinkedIn automation tool that I've come to love over the past 2 years. You have to know somebody in order to get access to it. If you would like access to it, just scroll up in the chat, click on the form, fill that out. I can get you access. We also have Dominate B2B. Dominate B2B allows us to scrape data from LinkedIn. So we get emails and phone numbers of contacts. And you can get a free trial of that right here. And then Sales Navigator, I'm going to have William drop it in the back end when he puts the recording up. But I have an extended trial of Sales Navigator that you guys could have as well. You just got to let me know what your LinkedIn URL is so I can connect with you and get you that free trial. So Jeff is asking if we can send out like a general message, like a branded message to all of LinkedIn or all of our LinkedIn connections at once. That would be more so like a broadcast message, which is that tab up here that I was talking about. So if we're looking at this, we do a messenger campaign. A messenger campaign, we can load up all of our contacts at once and blast out a message. So you can definitely do that. You can also post on your page too. Okay. The other thing we didn't talk about too, and I'll say this, I think our time's running up, but another way to really find your target audience is to start joining groups. Groups are going to be a little bit different. Oh, see, look, I just got a lead just now, just popped right up right here. We're redesigning our site, going from a Squarespace to a WordPress, right? That's exactly what I'm looking for in terms of, targets for web design, right? So that came right from the campaign. So that's going to pop up as a message in here. So there's a little bit of a delay, but you'll see that pop up here by the time we check that again. But what I was saying is the other way to really find your target audience, or another clever way, is going to be groups, right? So let's say we're looking for, for me, for example, marketing agencies, or even like roofing companies, right? I can just type in roofing company, and I can scroll down or click on this filter called groups, and you can find groups on LinkedIn too. You just want to find the right ones. And say, for example, roofing software. Got to get creative with your keyword searches when you're looking for groups, because it's a little bit different than Facebook. but you can pull this up. You can select to join the group. Once they accept this request, you can go over here to your sales navigator and you could actually filter through groups. They have a groups filter right here. You just type in the name of the group that you joined and you can filter out everybody by geography, owners, etc. in that particular group and hit them that way too. You just take that list, take the filters, load up the URL into Ulink, craft your message and blast it out. So that's just another way there too. All right. So Jonathan, use the link that I sent above and just book a regular appointment, or a support call, or just a regular strategy call. I do have a sales navigator thing on there for the year. If you guys already are familiar with Sales Navigator and you like it, I do have a 60% off discount to Sales Navigator too. I can get it for $475 for the entire year in comparison to $1,200. So you save a little bit of money there. So definitely check that out too. Jeff is asking, are groups similar to Facebook with big numbers? If you find them correctly, yes, but Facebook is going to be much more advanced with groups. At this point, LinkedIn is behind in terms of groups, but you can still find them. You just have to get creative with your searching. All right, any other questions? Patrick, I have a way to get a discount on Sales Navigator. And another question here, how do we go live on LinkedIn? So going live on LinkedIn is actually a little bit more difficult of a process. You have to get approved by them. It does help to have a premium account. So if you have Sales Navigator, it is going to be premium. Give you a premium account, but they do ask you a few questions to get you approved first before you can actually do lives on LinkedIn. So it's a little bit more secure, I guess you can say, in comparison to Facebook. Facebook's a little bit more open source on those kinds of things. But great question. That's actually something I can dive into a little deeper and show how to do that. All right, I think we're coming to an end here. One more round of questions if you have any. Again, feel free to book on my calendar if you want to have a one-on-one conversation about any of these tools, any of these services, or even if you want some advice on how to set your stuff up properly. I'd be more than happy to have a chat with you. All right, I think that is all. Again, appreciate you guys for joining in on this session about LinkedIn. William's going to drop the video in the back. I'm going to give the links to him as well. So if you guys decide that you want to grab Sales Navigator, do a profile optimization, done for you service, or if you want access to the tools yourself, you can grab those links. And I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with me. Next week, we're going to dive into how to book appointments with certain steps of messaging, copywriting. So that'll be a very awesome class. I'm actually going to bring in Matt again for that one next week. If you guys don't know who my partner Matthew is, He is an author. He really follows the profits first model. We had an awesome class the last time that I brought him in here. Please check out that video if William has that uploaded. Very awesome stuff on how to make sure you pay yourself first in your business. So definitely check that one out, but I'm going to bring him in next week to talk about copywriting and messaging. And then we'll even touch on a little bit of JV partnerships. I know a few of you guys have been excited about listening to that or learning more about that as well. So we'll do a full lesson on JV partnerships as well. All right. But thanks again, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting here. And everybody take care.